Hello, NWOBHM here. Today we're looking at Touched and their second album called Death Row. Touched, of course, being a band that were around briefly in the new wave of British heavy metal days in the 80s. Yesterday, in yesterday's video, we looked at their debut album, Back Alley Vices, and today it's the follow-up to that, which came out in 1986. As you can see there, entitled Death Row. Before I get into it, if I could ask a little teeny tiny favour, and that's if you wouldn't mind please subscribing to the channel, because that'd be big help. There are hundreds of videos across the channel on, NWOBHM, classic rock, all sorts, progressive rock, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, Touched and Death Row. As I say, this is their second album, originally from 1986. And it's been reissued in a limited edition run of 500 CDs by Cult Metal Classics. Alright. And as I mentioned in yesterday's video on Back Alley Vices, that album did suffer from a shockingly poor production. And whilst having its moments, it was a bit generic, I thought. So 2 years later, Death Row came out. And it seems that in the 2 years in between albums, that the band did try and up their game a little bit, as this second album is, in my opinion, a bit more of a refined effort, more mature, and had a more of a varied approach overall. And the production job is much better, but the artwork, as you can see here, that's shocking, isn't it? That artwork is bad. Anyway, it's about the music. No changes in the lineup, so we still had that flashy guitar of John Hull. That remains and is to the fore. His playing's a bit more refined here as well, rather than that sameness of his soloing on the debut. Here on Death Row, the riffs and the solos are a bit more varied, a bit more mature. And yes, spectacular, but shorter and more to the point, I think. Song-wise, PowerPoint, big pounding opener. Short, sharp shock. I did like that. Night Attacker comes up next. Cutting riff, scorching solo, big chorus. And the delivery, when I was listening to it, all I could think about is that this could quite easily have been something that Judas Priest wrote, and would have fitted well on Killing Machine. Moving On chugs along quite well. And then comes When I Call Your Name. Now, this was a surprise to my ears when it came in. A slower paced ballad. There's a gentle acoustic intro, which took me properly by surprise. There's some hints of keyboards going on in the background, a few washes of keyboards. And the song does smoulder along nicely. After that gentle intro, some big stuff comes in, and it varies backwards and forwards. Quite a well-written song, and a surprise to hear something like that on an album like this. Nicely done. Back Alley Vices comes next up. This takes us back to that metal by numbers genericness of the debut album, and I'm guessing because it's titled Back Alley Vices, it may be have been intended as to go on the debut album as the title track, but didn't for whatever reason. But it's nothing to write home about. Say it's just back to that genericness of the debut. Night of the Halloween, bit cheesy, tries hard, but has some nice flourishes, but it doesn't quite do it for me. So it's just a bit cheesy and generic again. And then even more generics with the quite cringeworthy Street Cred. I mean, it's the work of madness. It's shockingly bad. And I'll just quote a couple of lines from the lyrics if I can, that'll tell you all you need to know. Right, are you ready? Here we go. No one can stop us, we got street cred. You may find us in your lady's bed. I mean, what the hell's all that about? Sorry, chaps. Skip that one. Bad. Through the Night tries to up the ante after that regression of the previous couple of songs. It tries hard, but it doesn't quite manage it. And then comes a closer in the title track. Do like this one. Strong, pacey song. Some gut-wrenching riffage, and one of those flashy solos from Hull. That is a good one. and say that closes out an album which is better than the debut, but still has its patchy points. Let's put it politely and call them patchy points. There are 3 bonus tracks here from a demo that the band cut the following year in 1987, which were intended for a 3rd album. That never saw the light of day, because shortly after Death Row and that demo, Touched pretty much imploded. That 3rd album was to be called Waste Yourself, penned but not released as I understand it. Things went from bad to worse with the record company, and the CD booklet notes tell a tale of Touched attempting to carry on, though how can I put it? Let's say that they fell victim to the excess of the rock and roll lifestyle. I think is how we'll put that. But as I say, this 2nd album is better than the 1st. It's steady, if not spectacular, but has its moments. But say that there are some shockingly bad things on there, Street Cred, for example. But it's overall, say it's better than the 1st, but not great. The 3 bonus tracks give a hint of what Waste Yourself would have sounded like, and it's okay. But say Touched, we're only around for a few years, and well, average, I suppose. As usual with cult metal classics, when they reissue rediscovered old new wave of British heavy metal stuff, this is a limited edition run of 500 CDs. As I'm recording this on the 17th of December 2024, it's still showing as available on Sonic Age Records, which is where I got my copies from. I'll put a link to Sonic Age in the description below, but you may well find it on other outlets if you look around. But say that's Touched and Death Row. We'll leave it at that there, other than if I can ask you to please subscribe to this channel before you go, because that would be great. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and take care.